Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to another report, Spartan Sports Report, here on TV3. And joining Sam and I is Brent Duncan. I think you've seen Brent before. He's the athletic director at CHS. Sam, I know we're always happy to.
Always happy to have.
Always
Brent
happy
with
to
us.
have you.
Glad to be back.
Always has plenty to tell us.
He certainly will.
Might be quiet today.
No, you're not going to be quiet. Busy week, Brent. CHS this week. Junior varsity football at Franklin County today.
Yeah, 6 o'clock night on the Spartan field. The JV team will play the Wildcats tonight at home, and the boys soccer team is getting ready to play Crystal House Academy out of Indianapolis here at 5:30. So start the week off right. Hopefully you get a couple wins tonight.
Well, I hope so too. Tuesday, the boys tennis will be at South Dearborn. The girls golf will be busy at Richmond. The varsity and junior varsity volleyball will be at Newcastle. So the weather looks pretty good, I think.
A little bit better than last week as the week kind of ended up, and it'd be nice to get out of the rainy season and try to get all this humidity out of the way.
Oh, wow.
You know, the heat index gets up, and you try to keep your kids hydrated, and you try to tell them that, and we take a little more breaks, but it'd be nice when the weather breaks, where it gets a little cooler. I think it's supposed to as the week goes along, the first of the week, so hopefully.
They're looking like in the 70s for the end of the week.
That's
yeah,
good,
be
good
great.
temperature. Be good
Nothing doing on Wednesday at CHS. Thursday, the boys tennis will be at Greensburg. Boys varsity and junior varsity soccer home to Wapahani.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Wapahani, they just have a varsity team, so it'll just be our
Okay.
varsity group playing. But
Okay.
our boys tennis is getting moving, and we're, as I said earlier, we're young, and Chris is out doing a good job with them. They're out there practicing today when I left, so hopefully we're
it's
making
hot as it
steps.
is.
It's a little warm when I
I think it was
stepped out.
91 degrees when
When I stepped outside, I hadn't been out for a while. It's like the humidity just smacks you in the face.
Junior varsity will be at East Central. I'm not sure what is that.
Which one are we looking at here?
On
Could have just been an accident that got
Thursday.
left on.
Yeah.
So we make some date changes. So
Okay. Well, I know the weather.
we got varsity soccer, girls soccer at home. Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We're at
Okay.
East Central varsity JV soccer. I think I put a question mark in there instead of a J. But
On Thursday, the boys tennis travels to Greensburg according to the schedule. The girls golf will be at Newcastle. Freshman football at Franklin County on Thursday.
yeah, and unfortunately for us, we're not going to field a freshman football team this year just because of numbers. So
I see.
we're just going to do varsity and JV this year, and hopefully we'll get our numbers back up for next year and put all 3 schedules back in place. So.
And of course, the Spartans play varsity football at Greensburg on Friday and Saturday. Varsity and junior varsity volleyball will be at North Central in Indianapolis. Boys tennis will be at Richmond, and it's an invitational. The boys and girls varsity soccer at South Dearborn, and boys varsity and junior varsity soccer at South Dearborn also.
Yeah, a busy weekend with the Knights, and then we've actually changed our JV football game for next week, so it's not on Labor Day. It's actually going to be on Saturday morning at 11 against Greensburg for a JV football game this week too. So
Yeah.
be a busy weekend.
I want to talk about middle school today. The volleyball home to Benjamin Rush. Tuesday, cross-country home in a 3-way meet with Richmond. And Wednesday, their football team will be meeting Greensfield they play Grandview Field.
No, they practice there, but they actually play their games out at the high school.
Okay,
field, so
good
they'll be
deal.
out at the high school.
Good deal. Other fall sports at the middle school are swimming and diving, and that begins in September, I think.
Yeah, they're in there practicing right now, so
Yeah.
they got about 3 weeks of practice, and they got about 4 weeks of meets, and there's like 8 or 9 meets in those 4 weeks, and it's kind of short and quick, but they're in the pool right now.
Okay. Well, it was a long night Friday night at Wildcat Field.
Different one.
What, a 2.5-hour lightning delay, something like that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was just real stagnant, and the heat and then all the lightning coming around, and probably for the best thing that happened is it started to rain, kind of cool it down a little bit, maybe push it out of here and kind of let the lightning settle down a little bit. But we talked with Todd Sackstetter, the AD down there, and the coaches and the officials, and we were trying to get in. And the officials we were willing to wait till about 11 p.m. before we decided to make no more calls because both coaches wanted to stay and play, and all the officials had other things committed the next day. So
Sure.
scrambling to try to get people to come and do the official. Thank goodness that wouldn't have been my job, but I've been in his shoes before, and it's not ever a pleasant thing to have to do.
I'll bet not.
It takes a lot of people to put on a football game. Your concession people and your chain gang, not let alone the other officials, and
They have
just,
all your ticket takers and
yeah,
like you
it's-
said, concessions
it's a
and
big operation.
trying to get your band to be able to come back and your kids, and they all have things scheduled for the next day.
Buses, you'd have to worry about buses
Yeah.
to get them back there.
All the officials are busy. So, in fact, I actually heard two of the officials say, "Hey, one good thing about the rain delay, I picked up another game for tomorrow because whoever got rained out, they had other things, couldn't come and do it tomorrow." So then it's like, well, what if we need them tomorrow? So,
Right.
So there's always things that go on behind the scenes that even I, before I stepped here, didn't know happened. I just went to practice and coached every day. So
Franklin County was the winner 36-0 in both Spartan losses. They've got to score, and Coach Adam Kelly talks about something happens in the second half.
I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's just come out a little flat, a little tired. I don't know. Maybe we need to not take that break and just keep playing. But hopefully this Friday night we'll be able to dent the end zone a couple times and go down to Greensburg. And we had a shootout with them last time we were down there, and I think it was going to be the last person who had the ball. Thank goodness. I think we finally stopped them towards the end. But hopefully we'll be able to come out and get a couple points on the board and have our defense step up a little bit and get us a win coming home.
You've coached before becoming an athletic director. You coached all sports. What do you tell the kids at halftime? What happens?
Well, it just depends on sometimes it just depends on your kids. Of course, after coaching for 20 plus years, every team is different, so you kind of got to know the makeup the mental part of their game. And I don't know, sometimes it's just minor adjustments, trying to do some things and figure it out. Of course, a 2.5 hour delay didn't help us because they had a chance to see what we were doing, and either they made the right adjustments and we didn't make a different adjustment, but whatever they did at halftime in that 2.5 hour talking there changed the complexion of how the game was running, because it was pretty evenly contested for the most part, all through the first quarter and into the 3 minutes of the second quarter.
That's right. I mean, if it hadn't been for the fake punt, I think Spartans would have probably had a 0-0 score.
Yeah, and that was a big turn because as a coach, you're standing there talking about it because you don't really need to put a guy deep. If they kick it deep, it's probably going in the end zone. And I don't know if your kids don't sometimes think of down and distance. It's 4th down and 9, and they're on their own. Actually, it might be a little longer than 9, but they're in their own end about the 39 or 40-yard line. The chances that they're actually going to punt it are probably thin. So I don't know what the kids sometimes think about, or if somebody overlooked that part of the thing. But in the heat of the moment, you never know what's going to happen. They kind of lose sight of what things happen. And I'm sure as a player, I probably did those things. Get caught up in the moment instead of thinking about what the situation was.
Where does self-motivation enter into sports?
I don't know. I think it's just your own internal drive. I know some kids always think they got to have their music on to get them motivated. But for me, I mean, and I'll speak just for myself and my family, I think our desire not to lose was greater than our desire to win. So that drive of not losing was big to me. It didn't matter if it's board games, sports, or whatever.
Sure.
That's just my DNA, and you practice as hard as you can. There wasn't one day I liked practice, but I tolerated it because we were winning. And practice was okay, but I went through a tough year as a junior in high school in basketball season, and practice wasn't fun because we weren't winning.
Yes.
So the next year we were winning again, so practice became fun again. But for me, I think it's just something inside of you. I mean, you either have that desire to get out and do the best at everything you can do. The coaches can enhance that. You don't like to do it because sometimes it's by penalty. Like if you don't play hard, you have to go run. But you would like to think every kid who loves the sport and plays the sport plays because they have a lot of passion for it. So sometimes you question where the passion lies as a coach. But I think our kids are out there giving everything they have.
Oh, I'm sure.
But you always got to question what I know about myself is I just don't like to lose. So my desire to practice hard and do better is always going to be there because that's just me.
Not only in sports, but it's in life. I mean, it's when it comes to the academics and everything else, you have to be self-motivated.
Yeah, I mean, I think of kids that we've had as athletes in the past that's gone on to be doctors or whatever, and I know they've been out on the bus and they're doing sports, but when they get home, they're still in the room till 1 and 2 doing their homework and catching up with the things they got to get done. Not a great situation, but they also know that sports are only going to take them so far, and grades are going to take them a lot further than their athletics, for most people anyway. So we talked about that earlier. I've been here for 27 years, and just a handful of kids have got Division I scholarships, but we've got a lot of great students gone out and done a lot of great things that didn't play sports in college, but have done great things as people in society.
Very few have made a living at sports, and I only, right now, We have one right now. One right now.
overseas.
Overseas.
And
Matt
it's
Howard
that's
making a
right.
living playing sports.
it's a great league to
that's
play
rare.
in. Yeah, a great league to play in, but it's not the top league, but it's still a good league, because everybody top leagues at the NBA for the most part. But it's a tough road to hoe. You truly are a 1 in a million if you make it that far. So
Absolutely.
you need to get paid like you're 1 in a million. But so many people think that I'm that next one, and that's great. But you got to have some realists in there as well, knowing where you're headed. So.
Around the conference that the Spartans are in, Franklin County, as we pointed out, won over the Spartans, so they're 2-0, and the Spartans are 0-2. South Dearborn lost to Madison 33-14. Spartans will be playing South Dearborn later on, and South Dearborn has yet to win a ball game. So,
Well, let's hope that the Spartans put a W on the board this week, and then we play South Dearborn in 2 weeks, which will actually be homecoming weekend, September the 9th. So hopefully everybody will come out and participate and come out and watch the homecoming Olympics on Wednesdays in the high school gym and support the kids. And even on Labor Day, you can come out and get a little bit of activity. The kids chose Labor Day because there was no other sporting events going on. So we don't do powder puff football anymore because we were getting people hurt. So now we have a kickball tournament. So Wednesday night on the Spartan athletic football field, there'll be a big kickball tournament between classes and teachers on homecoming week. So on the 5th of September, come out and watch the big kickball games.
That'd be fun.
It can be a little hairy. It gets a little slick as the night goes along, and I think my assistant AD pulled his hamstring running to first last year. So it can be interest for us older folk.
Yeah, he just needs to get in better shape.
Got to stretch a little bit more. So.
Lawrenceburg's 2-0. They defeated Taylor of Ohio 37-3. Greensburg is 1-1. Their win last game over Jennings County 41-7. So apparently they've got some offense.
Yeah, let's hope we got a plan for them. And I know Coach does a great job starting on Saturdays after we get all the kids out in the morning, and then the coaches get in and plan on Sundays. And hopefully today they're putting in at least the part of the system, because as the JV kids are getting ready to play, he just has predominantly the varsity kids left. So they can do a little film work and do a little scouting report stuff. And you can only hit 2 days in practice now. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays will be our days we hit a little bit, and you really can't take them to the ground anymore. So coaches have been putting more and more restrictions on how much you can pound them in practice. So not just ours, but I mean through the state of Indiana. Everybody has to follow that plan. So of course Thursdays are preparation days and walkthrough days, and we suit them back up on Friday night. So.
East Central is 2-0. They defeated Harrison, Ohio in their game. Batesville is 2-0. Their win was over Milan Friday night. Rushville is 0-2. They lost to Newcastle 33-6. Those are the teams that are in the conference, and
we'll be playing them all here pretty shortly.
Yes.
Greensburg this week, and then South Dearborn, then followed by Rushville in week 5, and then we got that blip in the middle, week 6 with Broad Ripple.
Right, and the Rockets are 0-2. They've lost to Noblesville Home School 32-6. They'll be here, or we'll go to there on September 23rd.
Yeah, and then we got East Central and be playing Lawrenceburg this year. If you remember 2 years ago, Lawrenceburg, it was a quagmire. Couldn't hardly move the ball. You couldn't even get your traction. This year we'll get to play on their turf, and we won't have to worry about slippiness. Of course, we finish up with Batesville on the 9th game of the year.
Yeah.
Adam's been here 5 years, and knock on wood, we've actually hosted a sectional game each of the first 4 years he's been here.
Yes.
So I hope we host, but our odds are getting against us a little bit here. But you just never know.
Know what that draw can be.
Right. So.
Around the area, Cambridge City, Lincoln lost to Westdale 36-6. Cambridge is looking for their first victory after 2 ball games. Centerville is also 0-2. They lost to Tri-High 28-19. Union County lost to Monroe Central. The Patriots are 1-1, and Richmond's 1-1. They lost to New Palestine 49-32. So of the area teams, Franklin County is the only one that won.
Yeah, I thought they had a pretty solid ball team there. They did a good job with their offense, and
yes.
The little Orschel kid was pretty quick, and they ran a couple of plays we just didn't seem to be able to stop. They kind of ran it consistently, but it's like if you watch Remembered Titans, you just put them to sleep with Novocaine. If you run it well, it doesn't matter what you run. If you execute the plays like you're supposed to, sometimes it's irrelevant if they know it's coming at you.
So many high school teams play the ground game. They don't go to passing. Why? Do you know?
I don't know. We've been through the last 2 coaches. We've kind of gone from one extreme to the other. Our previous coach pretty much throws the ball all the time. But But if you don't have good pitchers and catchers, so to speak,
Sure.
makes a long night, and scores can get lopsided because if you're throwing the ball all the time and you're not successful at it, you're giving the ball back maybe every 30 seconds because if a pass play takes 8 seconds to complete or run,
Clock stops.
clock stops, and every 24 seconds you're kicking it back to them.
And
And if they got a potent offense, you can see scores get way out of hand. But I think more of it's just how great is a quarterback and how good are their arms and how good of receivers do you have. And if you don't have a plethora of people to pick from, you're limited on what you have to put out on the field.
well, like they say, when you throw the football, 3 things can happen. 2 of them are bad.
You're right. Incompletes and interceptions.
That's right.
And I think it's like anything else. It's similar to basketball. You can control the clock if you're running the ball. It's harder
Sure.
to control the clock if you're throwing it all the time. So you can dictate how fast you want to put plays up there when you're running. And it's just like you see with our basketball team. Kerry dictates the game based on how he runs his offense and his defense, so you can control the situation. And most people don't realize that. I'll have to date myself when Coach Rackey was here. He really played college basketball. He didn't play college football, but I asked him why he picked football over basketball. He says, because I can control football. I can't control basketball. Because he says, I run a play for 8 seconds, and I got 32 seconds to get ready for the next one, and they get 8 seconds, and I get them for 30 more. So he just said he was much better at controlling the game of football than he was at. And obviously he's been successful no matter where he's been. So,
Yes.
he's running it back up at New Prairie again where he's at now. So he's won it every place he's been. So he's been a very successful coach.
Has the change in the clock done anything? Is it?
I thought there's been a better flow to the game. I don't know about you guys on the radio, on the TV, but just from a fan standpoint, as soon as that play's over that 40 seconds run, it just seems like the flow has been much better. I know it's a trial for the state of Indiana, but I don't see it. If it's working like this every place else, I don't see it not coming back next year and everybody doing it. So, of course, if the National Federation likes it, it could be the whole country doing it the same way. And that's how the NFL does it. If you go to the NFL games, as soon as the play's over, it's 40 seconds.
Yes.
Unless there's a timeout or whatever, and then it's 25. So, but I do think that the tempo of the game has been better. There have been enough things where the official controls it, and some of them hold their hand forever, and some of them wait to blow the whistle to start the play.
Yeah.
Now there's no doubt.
So it speeds up the game.
I think the consistency of the play, and then the IHSA's concern was they did studies last year where they had, I don't know how many schools in the state did it, but actually tallied the number of plays per game. And some schools were getting 211 plays in a game, and some were getting in the 80s based on how the officials set the ball. So plus, if you're throwing a lot, you can get a lot more plays in if you're dropping the ball too.
Yes.
So it just depends. So they thought it would be helpful for everybody to be more consistent throughout the state. So.
Talk a little bit about basketball. We had Coach Brown on last week. He said it's wide open for everybody. He lost some players to graduation, but to fill the 5 starting spots, he said everybody's got a chance.
Well, I think that's what everybody, you go in, and of course, we have returning people, with Bo, and if I say names, I'm going to miss some. Bo Isaacs and Grant Smith, and Noah Belt's
Garrett.
coming back, and Garrett Silcott, and of course, Gavin Wicks played, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Dalton Lee's coming, I'm assuming, and whoever else I'm missing coming out there. But
Sure.
I think as a coach, and you've been there long enough, that you have an idea in your head who you think's going to be there, but you really never know who puts the time in over the summertime. There's always a surprise or two that really shakes things up a little bit. But I would hope our kids never walk into a situation thinking that I just have a spot, because that's not a good situation, because then it's like, nobody can beat me. So I think Kerry does, and Michael does the same thing, does a good job with knowing that those spots are open, and you got to perform to get them. And that makes your team much more successful and your program much more successful.
Well, we had you on earlier. You were talking about the upcoming schedule, and there was something about a game at Newcastle in January. I think that's been finalized, has it?
Yeah, it's been finalized. I just, in fact, sent my ticket order in today. So we will play Louisville Ballard, January 7th, at approximately 7 o'clock.
Is that a tourney or what? What is it?
It's called the Indiana, I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but it's the Indiana-Kentucky Challenge Cup. So there's a girls game at 10 or 11 in the morning, and then there's 5 boys games right after that. Price of tickets $10. We'll have some pre-sale tickets in the athletic office once we get them in, and We only ordered 250 of them, so there's not going to be a lot of pre-sale tickets.
And it's on a Saturday?
It's on a Saturday, January 7th. We used to play Greensburg on that 7th. And this past year, Greensburg and Shelbyville used to play on Friday night, and then we got Greensburg on Saturday. Well, Greensburg and Shelbyville were kind enough to switch their game to Saturday and put us on Friday, which gives us our conference game on Friday, which Greensburg wanted to. And then they have a non-conference game on Saturday, which is where you want your non-conference game. Prefer to play your conference game first and your non-conference game second, just from a fatigue standpoint. So
Yes.
so it worked out great because then they called and say, hey, we want you in, and it happened to be the January 7th date. So by moving that, it worked out perfect. We were actually trying to pick up Anderson, so I told Anderson, can we pick you up next year, Steve? He goes, you'll have to call me back. So
Be fun playing somebody from Kentucky.
yeah, it'd be different.
They have a great tradition of basketball in Kentucky as well. So.
I would say between the 50 states, it's us and them. So it'll be the predominant powerhouses or states for basketball as the sport. So and they've put some good players out. But Louisville Ballards has good players. I think, listen to Kerry a little bit. They got a couple of Division I possible recruits, or at least one and maybe some smaller ones. So it could be a good ball game.
Oh, it sounds like a great day.
I hope they understand the way we play basketball because it'll be a little different. So, and I say that tongue in cheek because, if you've been in the sport long enough, city basketball, whether it's Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Evansville, Louisville, Lexington, different style of basketball normally than what we play out. And if you remember Coach Heddy, he always brought Warren Central out here because they gave him a different style of ball that they're not used to playing amongst the city schools. Cause they're a little more up and down, a little bit, a little quicker pace, and you bring them out here and slow it down. Sometimes those teams don't react very well because they don't play that style of ball most of the time. So
Indiana's been dominating Kentucky in the All-Star game, so.
let's just be better kids and better coaches. I don't know. Just a better state.
Better state.
Red
There you go.
is a little better bleeding than blue. So
That it is. Well, it's an opportunity for our fans to go up to Chrysler Fieldhouse, take a big crowd up there, and show the people from Louisville what our crowds are like here too. So
I think
you're
that's-
only getting 250 tickets, but there'll be plenty at the gate.
yeah, I could have got more, but then you don't want to get yourself too far in where you don't sell them all, and then you're on the short end of the stick. But I think one of the reasons we were invited, we had a good season last year, and then of course they saw our following at the sectional and at the regional, and obviously they want to boost ticket sales, so they're going to try to bring in people that bring a good crowd. So I hopefully all follow the
close by.
team.
And it's good for our team as well to get to play on that floor because shortly after that, a few weeks later, sectional will start, and of course we don't play Newcastle there this year in the regular season, so opportunity for us to play on the parquet floor up there.
Yeah, it's any time you can get a chance to play on your tournament floor, just like we do in golf tournaments. We try to find those golf tournaments that are our golf courses for the sectional and the regional, so we can get our girls or boys on them. So the more times you're in that big spacious gym to shoot, it's because it's different when you're down there and there's 9,000 seats and there's no wall in behind you, so it makes it a little different on your shooting. So
Michael Thompson, getting ready with the girls. What are you thinking? How we looking for girls?
well, I haven't talked to Michael. Michael was actually going to be here today, but he had something else come up and he couldn't get here, so he would have probably been able to give you some more insight. So you see improvement. We lost
Good.
3 girls last year. And, got some come back. Of course, the majority of our team last year were freshmen. And the good thing about that is they're now sophomores.
Yes.
So they've got a year under the belt, plus they played through the summertime, so it's kind of got another, smaller season in. So hopefully they come in as a little seasoned sophomores and some experience. And, Michael does a good job with them. It's just,
Yes.
he was talking about, I kind of chuckled at him the other day because he made a comment to a coach that thinking about maybe change his defense a little bit. And the guy goes, why? We can't even score against your 2-3. Why do you want to change it? It's the toughest one we play again. So, he's throwing a little bit of that probably Larry Bullington philosophy into that matchup zone. And because, Michael played for him. And, of course, Larry had a good career as a coach. And so Michael goes, well, maybe I might rethink myself. He says, I just can't cover those 3-point shooters. He goes, I don't think. He goes, well, you can never get a shot off against us. I don't know why you think that. So, and they were a pretty good team. So
That season's been moved up too. The start of their season, I think it's 76 days from this taping.
yeah, they moved it up last year.
Right.
They had,
But we moved it even more. We open up on a Thursday.
I'd have to go back and look. So I haven't got to. I was just talking today at my office. I think I got my fall ball ready, so next week we're going to start thinking about sectional stuff, which we host, the cross country and the boys tennis sectional, and then we'll be ready to roll. And I was actually looking at winter pictures for my sports calendar just last week, so it's like I'm already doing winter. It's like I'm not even 3 weeks into spring; it's the fall already. So,
Right.
but yeah, just the role the reason they moved it up was to make the girls' season exactly the same length as the guys' number of days, and it was a week short 2 years ago, so they had to ask about moving volleyball up a week. Volleyball coaches were definitely not for that because they had to start practice a week earlier. So I just say his great wisdom said,
overlap there.
said just like boys basketball and football has been overlap for years, and now it'll just be girls basketball and volleyball. And after 1 week, there's only 64 teams left. So
And it did, the girls' tournament and the boys' tournament did overlap. So this way it does separate that and makes it better.
yeah, when the girls have their state finals, the IHSA's concern was the media coverage, which they should be. And it'll sound sexist, not meant to say that, but he said it. If the girls' state finals are in Terre Haute on a Saturday and there's 64 boys basketball sectional finals, most of the media is going to the boys basketball sectional, and the girls need to have the day to where all the media goes to that spot.
Sure.
So, and now it's back in Indianapolis, which helps. So it's good to have it separate for that. There's no conflicts, and you're losing a lot of your good tourney officials that you don't get for either the girls' finals or the boys' sectional because they're doing both. So that way there's no conflicts at all, and everybody should go watch the girls in the state finals. Hopefully we'll be knocking on that door some of these days. So
I hope so.
be good.
We were there 1999 knocking on the door.
We were there. I was sitting in the Southport gym,
Yeah, almost had that one.
that infamous gym that we need to make a trip back to get a W in.
That's right.
The girls still have their tourney during the holidays?
The Rumble on the River? Yep. It's December 29th and 30th. That's the same 2 days as the Spartan Classic. So you can either go to Madison and watch basketball, or you can stay here and watch 32 teams come and wrestle.
What about the wrestling team? What have you talked to Mac?
I talked to Mac a little bit today. They're just starting to gear up with open work. They have open pits in the summertime on Wednesday, and I think after having a year under his belt, he's got a little bit better idea of high school wrestling again because he's been out for 20 years and very successful as a wrestler himself. And then, of course, Justin Lysing helps him, and hopefully we'll get a little more recruit because now kids know him. He's been around them a little bit. He's getting ready to retire from the National Guard, so he's bought a house here, or is going to buy a house here in town, which will be helpful and give him a little more quickness to get some things done as open workouts and stuff go. So,
Good deal.
knock on wood, we're hoping for a good wrestling season.
Well, we thank you for joining us tonight. And
Happy to be
we
here.
hope the struggles for the Spartan football team are at an end. As we pointed out earlier, they'll be playing this week at Greensburg, and then 2 straight home games with South Dearborn and Rushville, and then they'll be at Indianapolis Broad Ripple on the 23rd of September, East Central back here on the 30th, at Lawrenceburg October 7th, and home to Batesville on October 14th. So it's a good schedule.
It is a good schedule, so don't forget homecoming. It's the next home ball game. So go to Greensburg this week and eat at that little restaurant downtown. They got great pie.
Oh, Stories.
Stories. They got
Oh,
great
banana
pie.
cream pie at Stories. And that's giving them a plug, but I love it.
What kind of a field at Greensburg? Good field?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Stan doesn't always like the press box side.
Press box, they have a visitor's press box. And
Small and dinky.
And last time we were there, they didn't open it up, I think, until we got there, and it was hot and no drinks inside. Not the hospitality that we're used to at Spartan Field. But Dave Pollard and I will have that game at 6:45 on KMX 106.9, and people that can't go would certainly invite you to tune in.
Brent, once again, thanks. Athletic Treasurer CHS, always happy to have you here.
Glad to be here.
And thanks everybody for watching the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3.